So, Diane Kristoff, we're so happy to see you. And Diane, I'm such an admirer of who you are. I won't say your work, of who you are, your spirit, your adventurousness, your adventuresomeness, whatever the word is. And I'd love for you to tell us more about your adventures and what your mission is, and cap that off with, please, what creativity has meant in your life, because I know you're living a life that you are creating. So each one of you has sent me a quote from a fictional TV or movie character or a song lyric. That was the request. That has nothing to do with the word creativity, although you won't find too many of those in movies or songs, I don't think. However, I'm going to ask each of you to explain in your own words, in your own vibrant words, what the quote has to do with creativity in your life and be creative. So let's take about, 2.5, 3 minutes most so we can get around the table. Diane, everywhere I look these days, the word in your quote is popping up on TV shows. No matter what I look at, they're there, and it's just very scary. So the quote is from Raiders of the Lost Ark, directed by the one and only Steven Spielberg, based on a story by George Lucas and Philip Kaufman. The movie, of course, stars Harrison Ford, Karen Allen, Paul Freeman, Ronald Lacey, John Rhys Davies, so many people. Indiana Jones is a globe-trotting archaeologist, just like Diane, vying with Nazi German forces in 1936 to recover the long-lost Ark of the Covenant, a relic said to make an army invisible, teaming up with his former lover, the tough Marion Ravenwood, Karen Allen. He races to stop rival archaeologist Dr. Rene Belloc, Paul Freeman, from guiding the Nazis to the Ark and its power. Would you believe this was the highest grossing film of 1981? Some theaters played it for over a year. Andrew, can you believe that? It
Wow.
is recognized, and it started out very poorly. It didn't do well in the box office in the beginning. This took a while, okay? Raiders of the Lost Ark is recognized as one of the greatest films ever made and has inspired imitators and filmmakers across all media. Here's the quote. Diane, I hate you for this, but I'll say it. Snakes. It had to be snakes. I can't even say. Every TV show I've watched in the past 2 weeks has had one of those popping out of a door, a window, the back of a car. People going, ah! And no matter where I am, no matter what I'm watching, they've been there. And we met a woman at the publicity summit who was a
Right.
SNAKE specialist.
That's right.
I told her not even to pitch me. I couldn't even talk to her. I just couldn't. I don't know what's going on. Diane, I'm not putting you on speaker view, but please explain what in the heck this quote has to do with creativity. Go ahead.
All right. Well, that's a fun quote, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Indiana Jones is afraid of snakes, and yet he is faced with an incredible challenge to retrieve the lost Ark, buried in an Egyptian temple, and it's filled with hundreds of snakes. And you remember the scene. Well, do the snakes hold him back? Well, maybe for a moment, but he takes a gulp, he swallows his fear, and he pushes through it. That's real raw courage that has inspired me in my own adventures. For example, I'm claustrophobic, and yet I love splunking.
You are
That's
You, Dino Diane, who's done the whitewater rafting and the tombs, and you are
I'm claustrophobic.
Carl, you have to look amazed. Carl, what? Andrew's already looking amazed. What? Diane, we have to get these audience reactions to you. Go ahead now. Go
You're
ahead.
making me blush. Okay.
I'm admirer. I'm a big fan. You got
Thank
past
you.
it. Go ahead. So you're
Thank you.
spelunking and
I love splunking, and for people who don't know what that is, that's caving, and sometimes in very tight places. One time, the ceiling was so low, I had to lie flat, stretched out on my stomach, and I could only use my fingers to pull me while my toes pushed me, inching me along a corridor that was about 30 feet in length. There was a time or two where I had to just shut off my flashlight, force myself to slow my breathing, and swallow my fear to muster up the courage just to crawl on. But I did it for the adventure, that sense of discovery, to see what wondrous mysteries lie ahead in the dark cave. Creativity for me is sometimes like splunking in a dark cave. I close my eyes and I take a plunge into the darkness, and where I shut off my thoughts, slow my breathing, and just allow that creativity to emerge. Creativity takes courage, and it inspires courage. My splunking adventure inspired a similar challenge in my story when Dino Diane struggles with claustrophobia in the Cave of Ages, and yet with courage, she pushes on to discover a lost world of dinosaurs. Now, That's wondrous. And that's how I want to inspire today's youth to become courageous, curious adventurers.